What's going on, everybody? This is James Grandmaster Facts Boyce, and this is another episode of the Facts Project. Today, two special guests. Welcome back to season 2 of the Facts Project. Two special guests. I got my main man, Corey Pruitt, and Eli Johnson, leaders of the free world. We're going to talk about issue 1, issue 2, issue 3, and also the collaborated issues of which they've been able to formulate in these past few years. Thank you, two brothers, for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, word, man. All right, so I'm going to highly admit that this is the first time that I've ever had a writer and artist on the show together. So this is special because not too many people get to know exactly how the dynamic works between the two. So if I could, what is how did you two meet?
I think you should take the boat, Corey.
You want me to take this one? All right.
Okay, cool.
So I remember when I posted on Twitter once. Man, I hate how people are doing comics nowadays. And somebody said, well, why don't you just do your own? And that stuck in my head. I was like, I can't just do my own. And then someone else said, why not? And I was like, yeah, why not? And so I said, okay, I'm gonna come up with these ideas. And it was very important for me that whoever I found as an artist, I wanted to just be more than just me hiring someone for a job. I wanted it to be both of our thing. And so I went on different websites. I went on Reddit, and this guy posted this thing, a picture of Rogue. And my friend was like, yo, check out this guy. He posted this pictures of Rogue that he drew. And I love Rogue. Rogue is one of my favorite characters. And I contacted the guy. I sent him this long email. It's ridiculous. So long. I had never done anything like this before. And I just so happened to get lucky. It was Eli, and I didn't even know he was Black. He could have been Filipino. He could have been Greek. Mm-hmm. He could have been anything. He just went by Atlas, and which I still don't understand why he's called himself that online, but that's a different story.
It's a long story, actually. There's a story. And I did that on purpose, too. Like, it's good that, because initially I wanted that effect where it was like, nobody really knew, but the art kind of like sold itself. But continue.
No. You're not wrong. Because it absolutely worked. I was like, well, I don't care if he's green, purple, or yellow. His art is fantastic. Like, let's work. And so I contacted him, and he was like, yeah, I'm down to work. And okay, so then I said, okay, first I want to create the characters, and I really wanted him to shine. Like, I think what makes me and Eli work so well together is that, you ever seen like an alley-oop dunk?
Yeah.
I'm pretty
like
sure
Peyton and Kemp?
Sports. Yeah. Oh, okay. You're throwing it back to the Supersonics, my man. I pretty much lob it in the air. And I just say, I give her the premise and like what the character is or everything. And I say, I want you to just go ahead and just go off on it. And I did not give him any tips on how to draw the characters. I just said, I think that you're good at doing this. And I would tell him the idea I had. The designs came from him, 100%. And I think that's what makes us very well is that I got all the ideas, but I want this to be just as much his book as it is mine.
Right.
And so I wanted him to make sure that his voice is involved in the process. So we just linked up. And then by the time we designed it, all the characters, he posted a picture of himself on his Twitter page. And I was like, motherfucker, you're Black? He's like, yeah. And I was like, what the hell? I was like, I didn't know what you were. And then we also found out he's also in the same state as me. Now,
that's what I said.
Crazy part. Here's the crazy part. We've been doing this, 4 years now? We live in the same
That's
What's
been
that?
4 years. 4 years. I
Damn,
know.
damn. We've been doing this 4 years now, and we still never met.
Wow.
Yeah. We were supposed to get at Comic-Con, but I know it's like a little hectic.
Yes. We were supposed to do it at the LA Comic Con or like at the Anaheim Comic Con, but COVID, and so it ended up not really happening. But I have learned a lot about the industry through Eli. We're learning together, and I couldn't have asked for a better person to collab with. That sounds corny.
Ah, man, that
It's
shit was
from the
nice.
art, man.
That shit was
Literally.
nice. That was from the heart. Damn it. Got your valedictorian speech out there.
Hella tender moments.
Word. So for anybody that does not know the dynamic when you're creating a comic book, because you said yourself, you guys are learning at the same exact time. So is it a phone call? Is it an email? Is it a text? Is there changes on the fly? Is there editing here? Or is it just like you said, I put the premise up and then you just basically are allowing him to just like put it together through the atmospheres, be like, okay, he's just dope. Let me just tell him what this is and how I think it's going to be. And then when he brings it back, I don't even mess with it.
Not quite like that, but like that, but not like that.
Okay.
Similar. We communicate very well, which is a good thing.
Yes.
Not even just through phone calls. I've rarely called the guy.
Probably 6 or 7 times, I think, over 4 years.
Yeah, exactly. We do a lot of mostly through Twitter. We go back and forth. He's very good with communicating, and I'm always down for feedback. Even on other projects I'm working on, I would hit up Eli and just be like, "Yo, I just want to get I want to get your input on this," because I think that's what makes us unique. I can't speak for all these other creators, but like we're 100% Black owned.
Right.
The art, the printer, everything is 100% Black. So like I thought that's one of the biggest pushes I tell people, like, yo, like you really supporting Black business. Like everyone, we brothers from Cali. And oh, go ahead. What are you gonna say?
No, I was basically gonna say, like, as far as how it's been constructed, doing these 3 issues, did you have the total story written out all the way through, and then you basically like chopped it up from issue 1, issue 2, and issue 3, or was it okay? I got issue 1 in my head. Once we're done with that, I got to start writing up issue 2.
That's a damn good question. Let me break it to you. I think one of my favorite writers said it best, Neil Gaiman. He said, and this is pretty much, I couldn't explain it at first, but Neil Gaiman nailed it. He said, my style of writing is like this. It's like I'm transported into the middle of a fog. And I can see in front of me, but not for long. And my goal is to work through the fog. And the more you work through the fog, the more it opens up. And that's pretty much how I write. Like I'm landing in a fog and I know my destination. I just got to find my way there. And so that's pretty much what has been happening. And then when I get to the end, I will tell someone else, hey, this is how I got through the fog. And someone else can look at that in that direction that I'm going and say, yeah, but I have an easier way for you to get through the fog. Why don't you go this way instead? You'll still get to the same destination. You just went a different way. And that's actually what's happened. Eli can tell you, every time I submit a script to him, the first script is always scrapped. And I always have like, okay, by the time you come up to a final one, it's like a completely different thing that I'm doing. And it's just getting feedback from him. He'll be like, well, how about we do this instead? How about we do this? Sometimes he'll add things to the panels that I didn't even ask him to do, but I'll be like, yo, that's dope. Let's roll with that. And we just work well together that way.
All right. Eli, Who do you feel? Who do you feel needs to be the bigger communicator, yourself or the writer, the artist or the writer?
Oh, you starting mess now. Look at you.
As Admiral Akbar would say, it's a trap. But I think there is a good answer for this.
Okay.
I think, ultimately, I think I'm in the service industry. That's how I always look at what I do. So I think the writer has an idea. My job is just to communicate that as accurately to his vision as possible, honestly. Mm-hmm. So I want to make sure that I am, when the writer reads the book that we make together, they have to feel like what they were trying to do, they were able to achieve it. So I think it's important to get pretty much the writer's view out there, because I'm just a vessel for the story itself. Like, I want to make sure it looks as good as possible. I want to make sure it reads as good as possible. Everything has to have clarity. So that's how I'm always looking at it. And I just want to make sure that the writer gets their vision across. And, whatever process we have to go through, again, it's a little different with every writer. Corey, in my process, one of my favorites. And I think, I think that's no, actually, honestly, I think it is.
This motherfucker got to think about it. I'm back. Hey, facts. Can I curse?
You can absolutely.
Hey, I'm tired of this nigga Eli, and let me tell you why. I'm tired of this nigga with his polished ass Hollywood fucking answers. That is just so like.
You like that one, right? You like that one. It was so good it got on your nerves.
First, get the fuck out of here. Stop. Stop. This is not an interview, I mean, like a professional interview, my nigga. Like, just come from your heart. I feel like your brother got cue cards behind you, my nigga. What the fuck is this shit?
The teleprompter is off screen. But look, honestly, it's true though. Like, like I was saying, but you're right, James. Like, this is my favorite collaboration, and I've been doing this for like almost probably a little over 10 years, honestly, just like taking commissions. This is like my main source of income, the whole thing, what I do. And it's branching off since like the past couple of years into doing animation. I'm doing commercials for companies. I'm doing like a variety of stuff, but this collaboration with Corey, with leaders and all the stuff that we do is just my favorite, just because of the process. So because of that, I think it helps me to even get to the concept on a different way. You know what I'm saying? So like when he says like we need to have it look a certain way or feel a certain way, or he makes a reference to like an old comic or something that he kind of wants to pay a little homage to, I'm like, I have to get as close to that as possible, just because out of respect for the ideas that he has. Because I'm a fan of his, honestly. I can genuinely say that. Like, this man is. I just want to make
I'm a fan of you. I'm a fan of you. Just not a fan of your Hollywood ass answers. Like, goddamn, dude, you rehearsed this. I can see you in the mirror. Like, yes, I am a professional, and
first of all, my memory
I am the vessel.
So I'll ask both of you this: what did it feel like, the reception after you completed issue 1?
Ooh, can I take this one?
Yeah,
I want to take this one. This nigga Eli gets on my nerves, and let me tell you why. Again, all the reviews, and he's gonna laugh because he knows I'm right.
I remember.
All the reviews were like, man, the art is insane. Yo, this cassette, the way he got the angles, which is my idea, by the way. The angles, the way that he did this. Oh, the writing's cool too. There was a few things, but the art, bro. like niggas were doing interviews, and they have a paragraph for the writing and a paragraph for the art. The writing be like 3 sentences. The art be like a whole fucking essay that a college professor is asking for. I'm reading this shit like, what the fuck? I mean, I'm not trying to hate, but I am hating a little.
No offense taken.
Oh,
shut up. I didn't ask if you took offense, my guy. As you can see, this is our dynamic. Eli's like a little brother to me, I talk to him this way because I'm comfortable around him. We've always been that way. I think I would like to thank Eli, and I'm going to say this. I think that he has helped a lot with our female fan base because this fucking guy is a model, and all the ladies are like, oh, who is that? Oh, who's that? Oh, did he write it? No, motherfucker, I wrote it. My ugly ass. I wrote the shit. Okay, he just drew it. But I want to thank him for that. Yeah.
Look, I'm in the service industry. Like I said.
What you serving though? What you serve them comics? You slanging other stuff. You serving other things.
I'm serving whatever they need at the time.
Serving look. He's marketing and promotion with the face of the product.
Exactly.
He could be the face. I'm not mad at it. He could be the face. He could be the face. Oh, by the way, Eli, my wife says hi, by the way.
Tell her I say hi.
Hey, yo, shut up. Hey, yo, don't talk. Don't talk to my wife. Don't. Oh, okay. She tripping. Right she tripping. She tripping. She said, "Oh, is that my son-in-law? Oh my God." Oh no.
Oh wow. Here we go.
So I have a daughter. They're about the same age, and the missus thinks they would make a great couple. She's out of her goddamn mind.
Daughter from Lee Rowe. I didn't even say anything.
No. This is a good thing because if you become my son-in-law, I'm not paying you for a goddamn thing. I'm not paying you for shit. You owe me now. And my daughter's hand in marriage.
I mean, I didn't agree to this.
Stop rubbing your head, nigga. Stop rubbing your head. A nervous laugh. Get the fuck.
Yo.
Yo. This is probably the wildest interview you're probably gonna have. But this is me and Eli's dynamic. Like, this is what I can't. People hit me up all the time and they ask me for advice. And I it's hard for me to give advice because in all honesty, I'm still trying to learn myself.
Mm-hmm.
And but I told people, I said, build a relationship with your artist. Don't just have him, and I understand what Eli's saying, he's in the service business, which he is, but I feel like me and his dynamic is also beyond that. And the reason why is that once you develop a friendship and a rapport with your artists and your people, they're going to work twice as hard for you as well. And make them feel like they're a part of it. Like, it's not just you're drawing for me. We're creating a moment.
Right.
And, when you meet good people, you take them with you. So that's why when, I met Fax and I saw him online, I liked what he was doing. I pulled him in. I was like, yo, bro, let's work together on some stuff. And same thing with Eli, man. And, we Black, unless Fax, I think you got a little dabble or something else in you too.
Does it show?
What gave it away? What could have possibly given it away?
So like, could it be the lack of melanin that's formulating across my face?
Well, you a nigga today. You 100%. You my nigga. You my nigga.
I appreciate you. But yo, all right. So next question. What was it originally thought about that this was going to be an extremely diverse team? You have a Chinese character, Haitian, Samoan. You even got a dog. You got Corgi. You have a Mexican character, Filipino character, and you actually have a character that is a full-blown addict.
Yes.
So
yes.
The dynamic between those 7 characters all alone, was it always going to be like that? And the thing is, how do you write that much diversity into one team?
You got good questions. When I wrote the comic book, I always tell people, me and Eli, we're from California.
Okay.
And California is it's a melting pot. We got it all here. Mostly Mexicans, but yeah. But when I step outside my house, I have a Samoan neighbor. I have a Mexican neighbor. I have people. I wanted my team to reflect what I see every day. And, I have a lot of friends. I have a lot of followers from all over the world. And, I like to have conversations with people People say I talk too much on Twitter. Probably I do. I'm pretty sure I do. My wife is like shaking her head, like yes, but that's all right. But I talk to people because I just want to hear what the streets are saying.
Okay.
And I had a friend who told me, he was like, I can't name one Samoan superhero.
It's true.
And I had to think. I was like, there's Mondo on the X-Men. He was on Generation X, but that's it. And I'm like, why isn't there more? So I said, you know what? Not only do I want to do a Samoan superhero, I want them to be the exact opposite of what you think a Samoan superhero would be.
Mm-hmm.
And so instead of having them be, usually with Samoans, they think like big, muscular, probably muscle powers. I said, how about they be the tech people?
Mm-hmm.
How about they're the ones with the Megazords? They're the ones that use the giant guns and stuff like that. Let's switch it up. But it still has that Samoan flair. So that's why our character Technique, she has the flowers that she always keeps in her hair. That's a traditional thing with Samoan women, and the tattoos. And we had a scene where they do a Sivate, the Samoan dance. Have you seen one of those things?
I haven't, unless it's familiar with like a haka from like New Zealand.
It's similar to the haka, but you know the haka is more for New Zealand.
Yeah.
Samoans, they have their own. You can look at the haka too; they're very similar. But go if you want, and anyone's listening, Google the haka, or like Samoan soccer, and before they go to battle, but they consider soccer. Not soccer. It's not soccer.
Rugby.
It's, rugby. Thank you.
Yep.
Before they go to, it's like a battle to them.
Mm-hmm.
So they have like a legit battle cry that they do, and the rugby leagues always just let them do it. The teams come out, the opposing teams just stand on the side and watch these men built like tree trunks.
Yeah.
Scream the most frightening stuff ever. That I would want to leave the field. Like, yo, bro, I'm not doing this. I played football against oh my God. The high school that I played, Grant High School, they are state champions. And the reason why they're state champions is they have a Samoan line. All of their linemen are Samoans. And they would do a haka scream before every turn. It is the most frightening thing. And so when I created my characters, I wanted to inherit and put that in there too as well. Mm-hmm. And so that's why I had them have the scene. And what's great about that, I followed a bunch of Samoan people, and I went over the words with them to make sure that I did it correctly. And that's one thing I wanted to make sure was that representation was correct. I've always loved the story of the Monkey King, so I definitely wanted him in there. I've spoken to a lot of people who are up on Chinese folklore.
Right.
It's important not to just get the representation, but to do it correctly. That's how I feel. And but I wanted to have a white person on the team too.
Yeah.
But I wanted the white person to be different though. Like, if you haven't noticed in the group, the white person is considered the most powerful member. But in the book, you see that she's struggling with a lot, and she's realizing she can't keep doing this by herself. And the other members who are not white, they're like, we've already teamed up together.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we've come together already. So why don't you just roll with us? Mm-hmm. And you're invited to the cookout.
Yeah.
And it was, but I still wanted to give her not really a diversity thing, but I wanted to have her to have a struggle. Yeah. I wanted her to have something that she has to deal with, because I'm sick and tired of superheroes whose weakness is kryptonite, or I'm weak towards wood, or weak towards this, weak towards that. One of my favorite characters is Firestorm. And Firestorm has the power, he could turn one object into something else. But here's the catch. He has to know the molecular structure on how to turn it into something else. For example, he wants to turn something to water, he has to know H2O equals water. Mm-hmm. Problem is, Ronnie Raymond, the character who plays Firestorm, he's an idiot. He's like a stupid, dumb jock who doesn't know this stuff. So, like, that's his weakness. His weakness is himself. And that's what I wanted with my character, Moonshine. Like, you got this powerful being who can do all of these things. And yet, she's late. She's showing up late. She's not able to perform correctly. Her sobriety is her weakness.
Right. And the thing is,
And-
her character name wasn't given to her by herself. It was literally given to her by just people seeing her drunk as shit on the street.
right. And that's what I want her to do. I want her to embrace the name. Like, you
Mhm.
know what? I'm Moonshine. That's what I am. You know what? You know, it's kind of like when you see, I watch some shows where people are going to like AA meetings.
Yeah.
And, you know, they tell them to own it.
Yeah.
Own it. You have a problem. You have an issue. You know, they go up and say, hi, my name is blah, blah, blah. I'm an alcoholic. That's kind of how I see it with Moonshine. Like, she's like, I'm embracing that name. That other name that was given by those other people. That's not me. I'm a person of the people, and that's what they're calling me, and I'm owning that name.
Mm. Now, whose decision was it to draw Echo with no shoes ever?
I think was that me?
Was
I
that
think
you?
No, that was me. No, that was me.
Because rarely do you get to see a barefoot superhero, let alone a guy.
True.
Okay. So I have a Haitian friend, and he's all about the earth.
Mm-hmm.
And this nigga does not wear socks.
Oh,
He don't wear socks.
He's of the earth. He one of those people.
Oh yeah. He is Wagwan man, and you know he's all about the earth, and he doesn't wear socks or shoes ever. And so I would talk to him about that. You know, I'll be like, dude, you never wear shoes. He's like, no, that's not how we were made. We were made to cover our feet and stuff like that. Even though his feet smell like old Fritos, but he I was thinking to myself, like, and I did research on that culture, and yeah, a lot of them just roll around. They don't wear socks. They wear them little sandals, but other than that, they just walk with their feet out. So like with Eco, I wanted him to be that way. Like he was like, I'm not wearing shoes. I don't wear shoes. Like I'm connected to the earth. I need to be touching the earth at all times. And so originally I had it, and if you look at the first picture that Eli ever drew for me of the group all together, I had that wherever he walks, flowers will grow.
I seen, yes.
And I've kind of gotten away from that, but I might bring it back later now that I think about it. But I just wanted him to reflect that way. And also, he's the son of Gaia. And I'm like, I feel like Gaia wouldn't wear shoes.
She's a demigod. Right.
Exactly. Like, I feel like she wouldn't wear shoes. So I felt like he wouldn't wear shoes either. Like, it just didn't make sense to me. And you're the first person to ever bring that up. So, and I've been interviewed a bunch of times.
Well, this is the thing, because like the reason why I was reading the book, and I was like, okay, he doesn't wear shoes. I was like, so now like Eli like has to draw feet. Like
Get to work.
He's not, because this ain't the Rob Liefeld School of Drawing Feet. Like he has to draw feet. He has to draw toes. And like, you know, like he's literally got to draw a foot.
Good news is I stay ready, so I don't have to get ready. So I learned how to draw.
Talk that shit.
I made sure of that.
That's the thing. That's what's up.
I like that energy.
Yeah, because
I like that energy.
I'm sure if you got any of these high profile artists out here and be like, hey man, have you ever drew a foot before in any of your comics? They probably be like, no. They've had to draw most of their superheroes with boots on and everything like that. Like rarely the expectation of
hands and feet are the two most important things that you need to learn how to draw. Hands and feet. And even if you don't see feet, as long as you know how to draw it, you're a good artist.
Hey, and let me tell you why this nigga gets on my nerves again. Because when I look at all the compliments, that's one of the things they bring up. They say, Eli draws hands and feet so well. So I be telling them, I be on his ass, like, yeah, I want you to draw the hands like this. I want to make sure his feet are prominent and shown and not drawn like boxes, you dig? Like no life feels over here. We don't do that.
Right, because you look at any kid's drawing from pre-first to third grade, they get the head and the body all right. It's the arms and the legs that look really jacked up. For real. Let's be real.
No, 100%.
So one thing I did different and this is probably, I'm going to say, the fourth, fifth time I've read issue 3. And something that I did differently this time from reading issue 3 was that I read it sonically. Now, for those that ain't realizing what I'm talking about, every excerpt from each page has an instrumental to each page that you can listen to, from Blue to Jake One to Alchemist instrumentals and everything like that. So you could literally like flip to the page, and I have this lovely roadcaster here, so I could literally like read it on Comixology, input the instrumental into my phone and listen to it as I'm reading it, and I'm going page by page to say, okay, sonically, there's a soundtrack to this, which is dope.
I have to just shout
Yes.
out to Corey for that one, because that's like this is like the literary version of IMAX, because like I don't know anybody else who's like doing that. Like they're making, it's not like you can just, it's not a comic you just read. You have to read and listen to it. Like that's
Right.
something that's outside the box for me. So I
Well,
just wanted to give him a shout out for
it's
coming up.
funny because the only other person that I know that has a soundtrack to their graphic novel happens to be another independent artist that I know that's also from California. It goes by the name Jason Primrose. So he has like this orchestrated sci-fi feel that he wants you to listen to along with his book. With this, of course, you get some of the dopest instrumentals like put out there through underground hip hop with every single page. And
Yes, sir.
it's excellent if you do it that way. I highly suggest it, because I read it the 3 times and I was like, okay, I read it, and I was like, I'm gonna read it again. And then I started connecting. I was like, oh shit, wait, hold on. I was like, I kept on doing it and doing it again and doing it again and choosing the song. I was like looking up the song. Okay, oh, Jake One. I was like, oh, that's the Freeway Brother Ali joint. Hold up. And then pop
You
it in.
know.
Right. So it's like literally
My man.
you had me listening to Blue and Exile for like the next 3 days. So even today, you know what I'm saying, for real. So that's beyond the issue. So throughout the pandemic, like how has it been creating the book? Because I know since shippings went down, there's been paper shortages and everything like that. The best thing you guys could have did, you released it digitally through Comixology.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody
Yes,
now
yes.
has a ways of getting it.
Yes, yes, absolutely. It's important to get it on Comixology, because I want everyone to have access to it at all times. People told me that I should do it through my website, through my own thing. I'm cool with that, but the problem is I wanted it on a bigger platform. I know that a lot of people have trouble going to independent sites to spend money. But I'm like, look, ours on Comixology. It's on Amazon. So you could just go straight there and just get that. So we wanted to make sure to do that. I have all the prints in. They finally gave me the last one. I had to tell people, I got a lot of people mad on Kickstarter. I had to tell them, like, yo, there is a serious paper shortage in the world. And the printer people are limited on how much they can make, because if they just go and just make every order, they're going to be out completely. Right. So unfortunately, smaller ones like me are going to be pushed back to the people who are making whole textbooks, who are ordering whole textbooks for schools and colleges and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so it has taken a while, but I'm seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. And I want to thank everyone for that. But one of the things that I have been doing during the pandemic is listening to a lot of music. And so I've been working from home sometimes, and I just keep the music blasting. And on my breaks, I write. And when I'm writing, this is one of the main reasons why I decided to put the music in there. I want the reader to hear what I was listening to when I wrote this scene.
Okay.
And so it's like an experience that you're getting. Like this was the vibe I was on when I wrote this. Shout out to Shinichiro Watanabe, the creator of Cowboy Bebop, Samurai Champloo, and other things. He combines music with all of his stuff that he makes. So Cowboy Bebop was like space sci-fi mixed with jazz.
Yeah.
And Samurai Champloo was, of course, hip hop mixed with feudal Japan. Oh, of course. And you know, on paper that sounds ridiculous.
Yeah.
Hip hop and feudal Japan samurais, but they make it work. And that was kind of the vibe that I'm trying to go on. Like, this isn't just a superhero comic book, it's a celebration of diversity, superheroes, and hip hop music. And I just want the reader to have a full experience instead of just I'm reading a comic. I'm creating an atmosphere of geek culture and music culture.
Dope. Now, Eli, I know you recently just posted that you went to your first Comic-Con in LA just this past weekend, 2 weeks ago?
December 1st.
December 1st.
Yeah.
So
last year.
So for one, I was surprised that you have never been to a Comic-Con before. But secondly, I was like, okay, you actually had a lot of work that you could promote. So did people get to see Leaders of the Free World for the first time? Like there's some of the panels that basically you were able to put out or anything like that as far as your creations that were put on page to the public?
Yeah, definitely. Actually, okay, let's take it back from the beginning. Okay. So I was explaining why I never went to Comic-Con before. I had a couple of opportunities. When I was a kid watching, like they used to have this channel called G4 TV, and every year they would, do San Diego Comic-Con. You'd see the booth babes, you'd see all the new stuff from Sega, all these guys, the movies. And this was like before there was an MCU, before any of that stuff. We were watching G4, we were watching Comic-Con every year. That was like one thing I always did with my brother. And I said, one day I'm going to go to this show, but I want to go as a vendor. I want to have merchandise. I want to go to have people buy things that I've created. So there were many years later, fast forward almost 10 something years later, I had various opportunities to go to Comic-Con, but I never wanted to go until I had a product. So that was one of the reasons that I was finally able to go this time. I didn't just have one. I had the Undead, I had the Formula, I had like a bunch of different products, and my brother and some of our other friends, we all kind of put our little booth together, and we had so much to give to people. And for all intents and purposes, we kind of blew it out of the water. So there's some things developing for this year's like other shows. But one of the reasons that I was really kind of just waiting on it was just the timing. I wanted to make sure that my first time at the Comic-Con I wanted it to be special. I wanted it to be important. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that was a milestone that I was able to achieve. So, I'm just gonna kind of keep setting the bar higher as far as that goes. But Leaders of the Free World, we did have those aforementioned shipping issues. So they came.
I'm sorry.
We were not able to get the physicals. However,
I'm sorry.
However, there's a bright side to this. There's a silver lining. One of the characters that I incorporated on my booth banner, which I posted on Instagram, was I think we're still kind of in the process of renaming her, but in the episode
Daybreak.
Daybreak.
Yo, exclusive yes. On Facts Show. We are adding a new member to the team.
Okay.
Eli, this goes to the process that we're doing. Eli, I just let him cook. Like, yo, just start designing characters. And he designed this one character that just captured everybody's eye. And everybody is like, who is that? And this reminds me of one of my favorite interviews that Nas did, where Nas was doing his interview, and it was a white interviewer, and the white interviewer was saying, when I hear this song, I feel like you're doing this. I feel like you're doing that. I feel like you're doing this. And then he was like, did I get that correct? And Nas was like, well, that's what it is now. Like, he was like, yeah, sure. Yeah. And so, like, the picture that he drew, I'll post it today on my Twitter page too, so people can go and see it, and on my Instagram. She looks South Asian, Middle Eastern. She looks like she's bald, but she's pretty. She's attractive and bald. To me, that's amazing art.
Right.
If you can make, because when people think like superheroes, especially women, they have the long hair,
Yeah.
they have the look. He drew a bald woman, and she looks gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
Like I couldn't even see her with hair, and I'm like, that's the type of stuff I want.
Mm-hmm.
I want stuff like that, and and she's doing this like dance where she is in the picture, and like she has like projected hands. You just got to see it. It's gorgeous. And I started posting it everywhere. Everyone's like, "Who is that?" And I'm like,
She don't have no name yet.
She was an extra at the time. She was literally, we made her just for the flashback.
She was an extra. She was just a part of the crowd.
Basically, she was just for the flashback in episode 1.
And that's how a lot of the greatest creators come
Right.
up. Like Stan Lee did not make the X-Men to reflect the civil rights.
Mm-hmm.
That's not true. Everyone says this. But like Stan Lee was just like, yeah, sure, yeah, civil rights, yes, Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, yeah, that's what I did, yeah. And that's not what he did. In reality, what happened was DC was killing it with Teen Titans, and so Marvel told him he needs to make a team of superheroes that were teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why he made the X-Men, and they went to a school and they had a headmaster and stuff like that. And he fought Magneto, and maybe just a bad guy. And he just said, you know what? I don't know. He said, I didn't want to make origins for all these characters.
Right.
So I just said, they were born that way. And that's how the X-Men were formed. It was none of that other stuff. But if you go to any interview of his, he's like, yeah, civil rights movement. Yeah.
Well, it seems like every time it's brought up in an interview, if you look at old interviews of him, whoever describes it in a certain way, he agrees with them. He's like, yeah,
rolls with it.
They're like, yeah, exactly like that. Yes, like he just agrees. They're like, whatever.
It is what you need it to be, and that was the magic of comics.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's a book. We think of books like the Bible. People take it literally, but with different perspectives. Some people take it way too fucking literally. And then you have some people that just like take offhand like phrases from it and utilize those to just put up in their house. So be it. Like
nailed it.
You know what I'm saying? Like he who whatever cast the first stone. Ain't nobody throwing stones at people no more, man. Like that's not happening. It's like straight up. Like some people take things a little too literally, and then other people just take those perspectives like it's a great story. Like somebody might just read the Bible and be like, yo, these are some dope ass stories. Fictional stories. You know what I'm saying? like these are some real good stories. But then you have some
I had a friend growing up.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. What are you gonna say?
No. Then you have some people like other ones like the Quran and everything like that. Some people just take they describe some people as extremists because they take the book totally to heart. And then you have some people be like, well, they just a little too heavy-handed with their shit. We read it, we follow it because the teachings are prophetic, and we just follow the teachings and we go on about our life. Then you have those motherfuckers be like, oh hell no, I'm gonna get my virgins today, son.
Right. I had a friend growing up. I asked him like, do you follow the Bible? Do you believe? And he was like, oh, I love fictional characters. I'm like, all right, bro, get your shit off.
Right. And that's how like it's supposed to be interpreted. But the next thing I wanted to ask is like, what are the plans for Leaders of the Free World going forward? Aside from Daybreak, you know what I'm saying? Aside from Daybreak, this is the thing, because I asked you earlier in the podcast, we were talking about how you've been able to put issues together. Do you write the issue and then move forward and then start writing the second issue? And you said that you follow it through the fog until you get there. Now, is there going to be just this moment in time where you vaguely disappear from sight for about a few months, and it's because you're writing issue 4?
Issue 4 is already almost written, almost done. I would like to apologize to Eli first off, because he's gonna have a broken wrist by the time he's done, because I'm going apeshit. on issue 4. My goal is to write the most insane comic book you've ever read in your life. I feel like we've done a pretty good job with that so far. I want to write things that has never been seen before. So that's what I'm working with now. One of the best advice I was given by Scott Snyder, he said, write your comic book like you're told to write a blockbuster movie and you have an unlimited budget. You have an unlimited budget. Just go. If you think that this is too big, you need to find a way to go bigger.
Right.
And that's kind of where I'm at with it. Like in mid-writing, I just said, hey, how about one of the members has their own Megazord?
Right. Well,
Why
that's
not?
what I'm saying. Issue 3 had a lot of action in it. You know what I'm saying? Like if we want to put it into perspective, like it was once the Godsend found out that there was an alert on Earth, a lot of people got fucking murked.
And we actually cut scenes out. There was more action.
Yeah.
We actually had to short.
What you're looking at idea.
This is not the test cut. Like this is the short. This is the WB version. So one of these days.
An actual text that I got from Eli after I sent him the first script for issue 3. He said, "Wow, that's a lot of action." And I was like, "Yeah, motherfucker, yeah, we gotta crank up the action." And this is when I tell you earlier that every first script I do always gets scrapped. Then Eli, let me tell you why this nigga gets on my nerves. I'm gonna keep saying this. This nigga made a hella good point. He was like, well, I'm always like, wow, and he's all like, I'm more professional. I'm professionally trained to speak in a very soft tone. And he said, well, Corey, here's the deal. These people don't really know our characters yet. We should focus on exposing more of their background. And I was like, shut the fuck up at first. I was like, no, I'm not trying to hear that. We need act. And then I was like, God damn it, he's right. So I had to crank the action down for the third one and add more characteristic moments. And I'm so glad that he did that because that made me look within myself to out of my comfort zone. Because if you need action, I could do that.
Right.
Like I got you. But this time I had to not only do a lot of dialogue, I also had to make it interesting for everybody. So I do like that within the what me and Eli were able to do, where we were able to show the origins of each character while also telling a story at the same time. So while they're fighting Moonshine, like they're learning more about each other. Like, oh, this is what you could do. This is what you can do. And at that moment, and Eli can attest to this, because at first I didn't have this in there, I decided to make my character Eco gay. That wasn't originally there. But I wanted to add something because Eco is a superstar. Like people already know who he is. He's like The Rock, pretty much. But I was like, what if there's something that they don't know? And so I threw that in there. You revealed that not only was he gay, he kind of sort of had a relationship with Florida Man and things like that. And then the big surprise at the end that even Eli wasn't sure of. When I said him that, he was like, hey, did I read this correctly? And I was like, yeah, motherfucker, yeah. Yeah, that's what we're doing. We're doing that. And he was just like, okay, do you think that people will take? I was like, they're going to take whatever we give them. They're going to take whatever we give them and they're going to accept it. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. I like to throw things in there to make it go, oh shit, I didn't even expect that. And I've had people contact me and ask me like, yo, why did you go that route? And every time I explain it to them, they're like, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. So Yeah, so it was just a beautiful thing, and I want to thank Eli again for pushing me out of my comfort zone. God, that sounds corny.
It's honest, it's honest moments. But no, like
honest moments.
I gotta thank you for the writing on that one too, because one of my favorite things to do. Obviously, I kind of dodged the double pages, but I know the
motherfucker.
People like the double pages, but one of my favorite things to do is really just kind of channeling the emotion from the characters into the faces and things like that. So I actually like drawing very mundane things, if that makes sense, and trying to make that as interesting as possible. So when you were able to free up some of the pages for just dialogue and stuff, for me, that's when I kind of like have a little more fun, just kind of like getting into expressions. I always try to give the characters like interesting facial expressions they do, try to like make the poses look a certain kind of way. So I just like making the mundane stuff interesting. That way it feels like nothing is wasted. So I hope that people, walked away from all the issues feeling like, we didn't waste any of the scenes, So I have to thank Corey for always giving good dialogue to provide that for. So
dope.
Yeah, I appreciate you too, because you do. Oh God, I'm about to inflate this nigga's head again. You draw very good facial expressions on your characters, my good sir.
I appreciate that.
See, Hollywood, bro.
I'm telling you, this nigga's trained.
Was this the incorrect answer?
No, it was actually the right answer, and I want you to keep doing exactly what you're doing. All right, so Eli, what can we expect from you this coming year in 2022?
The books, a lot of books, I think. Even from books, I think I mentioned earlier, I'm kind of transitioning to some other stuff. I'm working currently with a company. They're kind of doing like stock trading and teaching people how to do stock trading courses. So they're kind of like working on a video series, and I'm animating it right now. So it's going to be like full animated videos, like 10 minutes, 5-minute videos and stuff. So they're going to start releasing those probably, I would bet, in the spring, because they're still in the beta phases of making that product. There's another thing I'm working on with my brother called Anime Hip Hop. That's going to be it's a bit of it's a long story, but right now it's kind of like a combination of entertainment plus music. So we're getting artists and we're combining music with the visuals, a bit like what they did with Leaders and also with the formula. So hopefully we're going to have the Formula 2 this year. I'm still talking to my brother and my dad. We're kind of figuring out when we're going to release it, how we're going to release it, getting funding and things like that. We might kickstart it again. We might do something different. Just going to keep doing what we're doing. Every year it seems to get bigger. So I'm just going to, keep going in the right direction, I feel like.
So Taz, what you got on deck for 2022?
Did you hear that polished ass, trained ass shit?
I don't know what you talk about.
Motherfucking no, it is wonderful, but I'm like, look at this nigga. He got anyways. I got other books I'm trying to do. I want to tell our stories. And what I mean by that, I feel like as Black people, we are shunned out of a lot of things. We are kept away from things, shit that we like too. I'm tired of seeing shit about slavery, about like the Black struggle. I'm fucking sick and tired of it. Here's a group of 5 niggas riding on a dragon. That's what I want. That's what I'm writing. Here's some Black people with swords fighting orcs. Motherfucker, that's what that's what I want. So the stories that I have coming out, that the one I'm talking about, that's the Afro Punks. That's gonna be dropping soon. Just more Black characters. What's great is that I like to hire a lot of different artists to draw my characters, to give variety. And I'm hiring a lot of fantasy artists to draw my characters. And I'm realizing they're having trouble drawing Black people. So
sometimes fantasy equals British.
Man, dead ass. And I'm like, well, we're shaking that narrative. Now we like dragons, we like swords, my nigga. Like we love Game of Thrones. Like we could be part of this, and so that's what I'm working on. I'm also stepping out of my comfort zone. I did the horror comic book. That one's called Sundown Town. It takes place during the zombie epidemic. And a group of vampires realize, holy shit, we're in trouble too. And so a group of black vampires have come together and they have a town. And they run that town. And they have people that live there that they protect. And they protect from the zombie. And they go out there. The zombies do not affect them at all. But they can still get in. I mean, the zombies do not like go towards them, but they can still get infected by one. So like if somehow they're like the blood from the zombie gets in, they can transform too, so on and so forth. I'm kind of trying to take the term sundown town back for those people who don't know. A sundown town is actually something that actually existed where in the early 1900s, where black people were not allowed to be outside in certain cities after dark. When the sun went down, you're inside or you're going to get arrested and probably beaten and killed. It blew me away that a city not far from me was considered a sundown town. Chico was a sundown town. I'm like, in California? Like, really? But because that seems like more of a southern thing. But it just blew me away, and I did a lot of research on that. So I'm doing that one too, and just a lot of different things. I'm also got a comic book about a group of villains because I love drawing heroes, writing heroes, but I love writing villains too. And what's also great, this is another Facts exclusive. Each comic that I'm doing is going to have a music theme,
as it should.
My man. So it's not going to be just hip hop. Like for example, with Afro punks, I'm actually listening to a lot of black rock bands. And I want to highlight their shit in my book as well. For Sundown Town, I've been listening to a lot of old 70s and 60s music. I'm gonna have that in there. Get some Marvin Gaye in there, some Otis Redding, so on and so forth. Just to spread things out, just to show people where my brain was at when I was creating these books. And that's it for me. I'm trying to get as much out of Eli as I can because that nigga's out of here. Let me tell you something. Every day someone's hitting this nigga up. Yo, Eli, yo, I need this. Yo, I need that. That nigga's gonna leave me. Marvel or DC or Image, they gonna hit this nigga up, and he's gonna hit me with that late text. That 1 a.m. text. Hey, yo, Corey, man, look, check this out. I got this opportunity with Marvel, man.
Not that I'm working out anymore, text.
I'm just saying, I'm like, dude, I'm waiting for the call. I'm waiting for it because everyone is like, yo, this nigga is out of here. And all these other like artists in the industry keep hitting him up and they're like, oh, your art's amazing. No, they share his shit. They can't share my writing. They can't share my script. This is bullshit. And so this nigga's out of here. I'm waiting for it. And I don't know any other person in the world that deserves it. He's a young black man. We got to take care of each other. And I'm very proud of him, all jokes aside.
Absolutely. Well, for the two of y'all, I appreciate both y'all and the collaboration that you both made. It's excellent to read. I highly suggest it to anybody out there because I've read it a boatload of times now. And I'm glad I've been able to read it the way that I have. So for two brothers to actually like put this together on paper, whether it's the writing and the artistry and everything like that, the fact that you two are collaborating is something that isn't seen too much in the comic industry. So that makes it even more special. So kudos to y'all.
Salute, bro. Thank you. I fucks with you, Facts. I like what you're doing, man. Yo, Eli, let's draw Facts into an issue, man. He could be like the reporter. You dig?
That's
like,
good. I was thinking the same thing. He should be like a reporter during the invasion.
Yeah. You get that beige color. And,
well, look, I'm mundane, so just make me an albino and we'll call it even. An albino reporter. Nobody's ever seen that.
Shit.
It's true.
I'm weak
Now
as
you
fuck.
have to be a recurring character.
An albino reporter that only reports at night because he can't be out in the sun.
That's too interesting.
Hey, yo,
sometimes.
Hey, yo, I don't know if you bullshitting or not, my nigga. We can make that happen.
I'm sure you can. That's why I'm telling you this. He said he is not for the mundane. This whole storyline has to be like this, okay?
Say less. Say less. I got you. We're gonna make that happen.
All right, no doubt. Well, from the Facts Project to Task and Eli Johnson, thank you both for being here, and we are out.